Hi everybody, this is Kathy, and I'm ready to roll out my timeline that I've been talking about, and how much more appropriate that it is. I'm rolling it out on my Amish-built dining table for 6. Very appropriate. It's on the Amish dining table because this Amish fiasco is ridiculous, and I'm going to show you what I have found and documented over. Well, I don't know how long this took me. I did cut and paste. Literally, I cut calendars and pasted them together, and we have all the way from the timeline starting in June, all the way up till the current time. Now, yes, it does look like a big mess, but there is a method to this madness. Okay, we're going to go over events, and it's not going to be what you think. I don't think so. And I'm going to explain all this. It's color-coded. Look at circles all over the place. There's sticky notes, yellow, all kinds of stuff. We're going to go over this. Now, I have videos for many events. Okay, I've got video clips to go. Now, you can tell if I went through all the clips right now, we would be here for about, I don't know, 8-10 hours. All right. But I'm going to be putting out clips on the thing. So when I say I have a clip for that, I'm going to be putting them out in groups. So, best place to start is at the beginning. Okay, let's start at this top here. Patrick's first Whittaker video was May 19, 2025. He was not monetized. He had a GoFundMe. He said at the most it had $200. Bet he wanted groceries. They spent $100. And anyway, Eric came along and got involved. Now, first thing Eric said is that he got a hold of Patrick because he noticed there was only $100 in the GoFundMe, and he thought he could do a lot better than that. So, Eric is talking to Patrick. Patrick likes what he hears. And on June 18th, Dwayne uses this date. Now, his buddy Dwayne put out his buddy Dwayne put out a timeline of his own, a video not that long ago that he's been working on. And I'm going to be doing some videos on his little... It is hilarious, you guys. His version of what happened with Eric and everything. If you want a good laugh, that's a good comedy pick there. Anyway, so Dwayne, and it's funny because Dwayne did a timeline too. And although his facts are a little skewed, he doesn't know most of what's probably going on, or maybe he does. But his timeline matches up with mine with as far as the flights back and forth and the traveling back and forth. Found that very interesting because I had this while I was following his little video there. Interesting video. Anyway, and his lined up with mine as far as travel dates and all this stuff. So let's go back up here. So Patrick gets going. Eric gets a hold of him. According to Wayne, on June 18th, they talk with the phone. They like what they hear and see. And, but first thing Eric does is tells Patrick to shut that GoFundMe down now. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Because the GoFundMe keeps track of every single penny that comes in. You've seen it. We've all seen GoFundMes. All right, what happens? Every dollar that goes in goes on the screen, name or anonymous, it goes on there. You know and I know. And that's 100% transparent. But Eric didn't want that. So, on the 20th over here, June 20th, Eric shuts down the GoFundMe, and they make this contract that is third. So on June 20th, Eric comes up with this contract. They shut the GoFundMe down because that's too transparent. Eric doesn't like that. So on June 20th, there's a contract signed with Betty, Larry for a third. The Whittakers get a third. Eric gets a third, and Patrick gets a third. And that was on this day here. That's, June 20th. All right. So, things are going. So, Eric ends up, so Eric, from the time the contract got signed, Eric was working behind the scenes. In his own words, he said that he was, answering as Patrick and pretending to be Patrick and, quote, scrubbing the bad comments. And the bad comments were about how Patrick has got a bad past and he's about to go to court for some bad stuff. And anyway, so Eric, in his own words, started scrubbing the comments behind the scene during this time. Well, Patrick says, you got to come on with me because we got to get your face out there. Well, Eric don't want his face out there either. But Eric agrees. So on the end of, towards the end of June 27, they come up with the Eric and Ray go to the urgent care, heartfelt video with Larry and Betty. Remember that? That's these two videos right here. And at first, Eric was just doing recorded videos. So Eric goes up there, end of June, and he does these videos, okay? Starts giving Lorraine bags of chips. All right, so that's that. And they keep doing videos, and then finally, people want to know, who are you guys? Who are you guys? Who are you guys? So on June 30th, they came out with that Meet Patrick and Eric. And they went to Aldi's with the Whittakers and just doing a bunch of Whittaker movies or videos. And by the way, this was not a live, this Meet Patrick. This was a recorded video. And of course, they did more recorded videos, Aldi's. And here's Eric farming information from Betty and Larry. Yes, farming information, in my opinion. Now, according to my accounts and Dwayne's account, Eric left the Whittakers then, left Odd West Virginia on June 30th, drove home back to Georgia, in Dwayne's words, packed a suitcase and got on a plane and went to Idaho. Okay, so he left Whittaker's July 1st. He goes home, drops the truck off, gets on a plane, and goes to Idaho with none other than Robert Mast. So the entire month of July, Eric is in Idaho with Robert Mast to get ready for the big trial for his son. Whatever. And so in the meantime, Patrick is making videos while Eric is gone. And then here's the Robert Mast trial. But what else happens here, on this particular date right here, July 21st, Patrick goes to court and pleads guilty. The domestic assault was dropped, and he pled guilty to stalking, and he pled guilty to disseminating, like handing out pictures, like nude pictures of his ex or something. So he had 2 convictions, and he got 1 year suspended probation. So while he's gone, and by the way, this whole time, Patrick is making videos. He said on this date, I checked to see what he did this day. He said he's going to take a little time off to relax. Yeah, I bet, in court. Anyway, so he's making videos. Now, here's where it starts to get interesting. So, in Eric's own words, and Dwayne's own words, Eric was here the whole month of July, in Idaho, okay, without going home. So he went to Whittaker's first, stopped home, packed a bag, took a plane. Okay, gone. Now, on August 31st, he shows up. And by the way, Guess where he was? In the Airbnbs. Airbnbs. Airbnbs here. Airbnbs. Now, comes August 31st. Eric is still in Idaho, and the verdict comes in on the trial that their civil suit verdict comes in Robert Mass' favor. So, on that video, he says, yeah, they're all happy about the verdict, and he's going to actually decides to stay, instead of leaving today, he's going to stay one more day. He tells everybody he's going to fly in his family and extend the Airbnb another day. Yeah, I kid you not. So July 1st, August 1st. Now this is where everything changes, you guys. Now I don't know what happened here from this visit here to August 1st, but this is a pivotal date here, August 1st. On August 1st, of course, now Eric is in Idaho. He extends the Airbnb another day. He's flying in his family, okay? So he's at the Airbnb in Idaho here. And this day here is his last day, and then he will fly home. And now the zeros here, the other days that Eric is home. Well, allegedly, because he's not unaccounted for, and some days he is at home doing a podcast. So as you can see, just for example, out of all this is 75 days here, from beginning to end, from there to here. Out of 75 days, Eric was gone 62 out of 75 days. He was only home 13 out of those 75 days. Did you see the circles? Those are when he was home. Everything else, he's gone in Airbnbs. All right. Now, mind you, when he talks back about these days, he's talking that he doesn't have no money. He's got $100 in his account, and his bills are probably not going to go through. Remember that? When he's complaining? Anyway. So this day, August 1st, is where I see everything hitting the fan. Now remember, Eric is in the Airbnb in Idaho. He's about to fly home, but something else happens. Now, I remember that date specifically, and it caught my attention. Now, the reason I remember the August 1st date that rang a bell with me is because I remember I did that video with their Google Street Image, which was July of this year. And then I remember they did the property cleanup on August 1st. And I thought, well, it doesn't really look much different. It really wasn't that bad on the Google Image just weeks before. So anyway, I remember seeing that, and I remember it was August 1st. So now get this. Excuse me, let me get this up a little bit. This is the date, you guys, that, first of all, Patrick never told us about this, okay? Until September 9th, when and this is important, I'm going to get to this later. September 9th, Patrick is so mad, and I'm going to show you why later. Patrick is so mad that Eric, he put out this private text between them. And I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but he spills the beans a little bit on what happened. So here's his text. Back up a little bit so you can see it. Okay. September 9th, he puts out this because he's so mad at Eric. He puts this video or this text out. Backed up, I'll read it. September 9th, and this is the morning. I'm going to show you that later, this morning, that he's very mad. So he's spilling the beans of something that happened last August 1st, which he should have told us this last August 1st. So on August 1st, I tried calling Eric Carroll, and he didn't answer his phone. So I drove down to the Whittakers. When I stepped out of my truck, I started talking to Larry. The next thing I knew, BJ walked out of her camper while on the phone, and she handed Larry the phone. Now remember, supposedly BJ doesn't. She hogs the phone, right? No, that'll come up later. That was just an excuse. Everything Eric said here is going to show that he was out for BJ the whole time. Which, if you couldn't tell, yeah, he was. So anyway, Patrick is complaining that on August 1st, Eric Carroll he was ghosting him and wasn't answering his phone. He drove down to Whittaker's, I stepped out of my truck and started talking to Larry. The next thing I knew, BJ walked out of her camper while on the phone, and she handed Larry the phone. Larry was on the phone talking, and all of a sudden, he said, Patrick is down here. All right. So there's some inside stuff going on with Eric, BJ, and Larry. Behind the scenes, behind Patrick's back. All right, because he's not answering Patrick's calls and texts. Everybody's ghosting him. Everybody's ghosting Patrick. So when he goes down there, they're all acting like, oh, well, he's here right now. So anyway, so he says, Patrick is down here. Larry handed me the phone, and I was surprised it was Eric Carroll. The whole time I was trying to get in touch with Eric Carroll, he was on... a second. He was on the phone. He was on the phone with BJ, so wrap your mind around this because this is important. The whole time I was trying to get in touch with Eric Carroll, he was on the phone with BJ. The damn real truth will come out. Need partial proof? Here it is. Now he just wrote this like, I don't know. This was after the big breakup and everything. So here's the partial proof he's showing. Here's where it gets weird. So remember, Patrick is very angry because BJ, Larry, and Eric they're ghosting him. They got secrets of their own, okay? So, Patrick writes to Eric, that doesn't look good, placating with BJ. The police already have an ongoing investigation over all the stolen copper found behind the camper yesterday, among other things, stolen from the coal mines. And there he shows a picture of it. Okay, so Patrick is mad. Alright, he shows a picture of it. And this is on Patrick's Facebook. You can't really see in here. Maybe you can. Yeah, let's see if we can. But anyway. There's the picture. I don't know if you can see, but these right here are from the phone company. I mean from, communications center. These are very distinct copper lines, okay? And remember, August 1st, that was the day they did the property cleanup. Well, Patrick finds these copper wires, and anyway, he says it's not good talking to her because cops are already investigating these they're going to investigate these wires. They already got a copper investigation going on in town. So that's where this all starts, the copper thing. Now that's the same day that they cleaned the property. Now remember, Eric is in Idaho still, extending a day at the Airbnb. Eric is on the phone from Idaho, secretly talking to Betty and Larry on the phone. Patrick gets mad. He finds the copper when they're cleaning the property. That same day, court records show that there was a police investigation launched on that same day. After that day, Eric flies home back to Georgia, and he's home this day. All right, so he's home. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days later, the copper arrests start coming in. The owner of the scrapyard taking in the copper, he was arrested from Woods Recycling. Somebody else was arrested that day. The very next day, BJ got arrested. Now look at this. Something's going on the phone with BJ here. Eric goes home a few days. Arrests start happening. 2 arrests here. BJ gets arrested. Eric comes back. Okay, remember, he comes back. Tells everybody, BJ's arrested. She's all, bad person. And when Eric comes back, he comes back with his brother, Sean. Now, I saw on a receipt, which I do have a recording of, Eric paid his brother $500 out of the pot there, out of the Whittaker money, the video money. He sent a text. I saw the text and I have the copy of it. He sent a text to Patrick saying, I'm bringing my brother, and I gave him $500 out of the account. So he comes back with his brother, Sean, okay? Everybody's getting arrested over this copper. And Eric now, BJ's in jail, everybody. So the same day BJ got in jail, Eric comes back. All right, lots of coincidences in here. Eric comes back as soon as BJ's in jail. He's flying on the way back. All right, now he's at the Airbnb, and he picks up Timmy. He wants to go have Timmy at the Airbnb. And he's going places, buying, as in his words, just spoiling that kid, just spoiling him. Okay, so he's all this. Now that the owner of the recycling, there's 2 different dates. The news says one, but the court say another. But anyway, nonetheless, he's but he's in jail. So there's 5, 6, 7 arrests, okay? All these people are going into jail, including the guy that owns the scrapyard. And one of the guys was on parole he just got out of the federal penitentiary, so he's got like a $300,000 bond. A couple of them had a $300,000 bond. Anyway, so everybody goes to jail. In the meantime, Eric is having a good old time at the Airbnb with his brother and with Timmy, doing all these videos. All right, Timmy at the Airbnb. Now, come Monday, people start bonding out. Okay, the owner of the Woods Recycling plant, who had a $300,000 bond, he bailed out. And I think he paid $5,000, I'm not sure. Russell, this other guy, he had a $300,000 bond. He got arrested, so one's getting out, another one's going in. There was just so many people getting arrested there, and but the owner of the scrapyard got out. They did and they're doing videos, they're doing lives. This is the live with the Whittakers at this time, and then it's funny because he dropped off Timmy at home. On the very next day, well, he went back the same time BJ got bailed out. BJ puts a $5,000 bond to get out. And so yeah, she didn't get out. Eric was trying to say that she squealed. And I'm going to put out videos showing that he's really tried framing her and accusing her of getting out early because she squealed and all this other stuff. No, she posted just as big as bond as the other guy. And and she's got court pending. And she already went to a court hearing already down here, and it's continued now in circuit court, or I can't remember which court. So anyway, on the 14, as soon as BJ got bailed out, and I bet he did not expect that, because from up here, Eric and Patrick are both, for some reason, something happens where they want BJ out. So anyway, BJ gets arrested. And in my opinion, I think he wanted BJ arrested from that copper behind the camper. But I think the whole town went down instead, even the guy that owns the scrapyard. And remember that video where Eric said, "You guys, they kept coming to me and saying, you opened a can of worms. You have no idea how big this is." Remember that? Put that video out recently. So as soon as BJ gets bailed out of jail, Eric hightails it back to Georgia. And he's home and all this stuff. And then, like I said, in the meantime, people are going in, people are going out. So he goes back home to Georgia. Then, this day here, a whole lot happened on August 21st. Now, I saw Patrick say that he broke his leg on the 22nd, but no, he was in the hospital on 21st on Facebook. So, nonetheless, this day, everything happened on this day. All right, August 21st. Who knows what's going on with BJ, Patrick, and Eric, okay? Who knows what's going on with those three? But Patrick and Eric were very, very angry when BJ got bailed out. I got a lot of clips on that. Furious at Larry that he bailed BJ out. So Eric wanted her in jail when she got arrested here. He wanted her staying in jail, and he was probably shocked when she got out, and he hightailed it back to Georgia. So anyway, he comes back. Now, this is the day Eric broke his leg. Now, he was supposed to have Ray at the doctor, but instead he went to some, I don't know, mud rally or festival or something, and broke his leg. And so he broke his leg. Now, this same night, and I'm going to be doing a video on this, Larry stole the gas, okay? Larry stole the gas. Eric comes back, and remember, Larry comes back, emergency. Eric broke his leg. I got to come back and help him. By the way, he didn't help him at all. Patrick had a bunch of people there. I don't know, Eric even commented how many people Patrick had around taking care of him. So why did Eric have to rush back from Georgia? Oh, because Timmy needs him and all this other bullcrap. So he rushes back to Odd again, back to the Whittakers, more B&Bs. And that night is the night that Larry got caught stealing the gas. Remember that? Now, they used that to blackmail him. Eric comes back. It just was all too handy. And I even have a clip of them saying that, wow, I mean, it couldn't have happened at a better time for Eric and Patrick because they needed something against Larry. And him stealing that gas, I'm going to do a whole video about it. I did a video about it, but anyway, I want to redo it. But I'm going to show the video about how they started. This was perfect for them to start blackmailing Larry. Because, anyway. So, while Eric is back, he's bringing the Whittakers to movies. You know, remember the first time the movies and all that crap. And just making videos and all that. Airbnb, he had so, once people got arrested, this is where Eric started getting all squirrely, where he thinks people are chasing him and looking for him and stuff. So he had an Airbnb here, but remember him and Timmy, and the brother and Timmy, they had to suddenly, this trip he did not have his brother. This trip he came back and, remember he said he had to leave the Airbnb because it had a weird smell? Well, I got a lot of clips and videos I'm going to be putting out after I get this timeline out here. So when I put the videos out, you're going to know what I'm talking about. So Eric, of course, he rushes back for the broken leg. Larry steals the gas from Patrick. Patrick's in the hospital, all that stuff. Patrick's in the hospital all the way until over here. So Patrick was in the hospital several days. Okay, so Eric is here with Patrick in the hospital. Larry's stealing the gas. Now he's got something to blackmail him. So he's making these videos and everything. But remember, he said he left because of the bad smell at one of them. And no, he said a weird smell or something at one of the Airbnbs and had to rush and go to another one. But later, remember later on that video where I said it's got some weird stories. Remember he said he kept going Airbnb to Airbnb and they kept finding him. Okay, so he's making excuses why he has to keep going to different Airbnbs instead of just going home. But anyway, so on the 23rd, he said it had a bad smell and all that stuff. Anyway, so he makes a 10-hour trip home. So now he goes home for one day. All right, I'm pretty sure he did a podcast, but on this day, he told everybody that his buddies, let's see, that I think it was this day that he told everybody about his friends coming in for the Amish, visiting the Amish. It was this day. So this day, everything's fine. He's doing a dad podcast. He's finally at home. And something happened here. Now, during the time that Eric was home, these days, right before Eric broke his leg, when he's home during these days, I have video of him saying he had 2 fights over the phone with, now later, he doesn't tell us about even talking to BJ until here. At the very last couple of videos, he said he had fights with BJ. Around here somewhere, he said BJ asked for $300 on the phone and he hung up or she hung up. Okay, you guys, but there's more than that $300. There was fighting going on between Eric and BJ for quite a while. What it was about, I don't know. But on this day, remember, July 31st, he was fighting. He was avoiding Patrick. Eric was avoiding Patrick. Everybody was avoiding Patrick because Eric, BJ, and Larry were in cahoots and they wouldn't answer the phone. Patrick came down and he got mad. And he showed that wire. All right. Now the wire is phone wire like this. Now you see these tubes? Remember the tubes I showed you in that picture? This is the wire inside of it. And you have to throw this in a fire and melt all that plastic casing off. But there's only one place that you can get this wire, and it's from the phone company. So there's no legal way anybody can own this wire. No legal way. Phone company doesn't sell it, nothing. So if you have this wire, you stole it from the phone company or the communication center. See these tubes? Remember that? That's the tubes in the picture with these copper things. Like I said, all these people got arrested. The owner of the scrapyard, a guy that was on federal parole, 5 other people. All right, lots of them. See those tubes? That's what that wire is in. That was behind BJ's camper. So I don't know who turned it in the cops, but this same day, exact same day, August 1st, is the day that the police, if you go back on the court records, that's the day the case opened for investigating the coppers. So somebody called the police on this day and turned in that wire. Patrick, Eric, I don't know. But like I said, BJ got arrested. Actually, the other people got arrested first. The owner of the scrapyard and some other guy. BJ got arrested. A bunch of other people are getting arrested. BJ bailed out. The owner of the scrapyard bailed out. And these people, these are really high bails. And you guys, there's a bunch of people that are in jail. They just can't get out. The guy in federal parole, you talk about these people are all in serious trouble. So, BJ got bailed out, and that's when Eric hightailed it home. But when when Eric left, BJ got bailed out. Eric went back to Georgia. And during this time, Eric is admitted to, during this time, having at least 2 arguments with BJ over the phone over money. All right? 2 arguments at least over the phone when he went back after BJ got out. She's calling him and they're arguing, or they're calling each other arguing about money. This is the day that Eric came back, rushing back because, well, whatever. He's got to be with Timmy. And, you know, of course, Patrick broke his leg. Larry steals the gas and all that. So Eric goes back home. And as far as he's telling the public, as of this day right here, because didn't you guys notice? Didn't you notice that everything was fine up till here? Listen, he's been with the family personally since the end of June. All these videos, spending days with them, you know, and then he came back here, more days with the Whittakers, all these days. Everything's fine, hunky-dory, hunky-dandy. And he's even telling on his podcast that they're a loving family, they're great. He just saw no abuse up here. He said on his podcast right up to around here that they're a loving family. You know, BJ's BJ, just leave her alone because it is Larry's daughter and he loves her, and just leave her alone. Remember that? Overnight, this changed because there's a bunch of argument with Eric and BJ. He comes back for a couple days, hightails it back. We all think everything's fine. Now, this is where everything changed on June 24th. Now, people are getting back out of jail. A couple people, most are still in. But this is where everything changed overnight, right here. Because I thought, wait a minute. I kept going back over the videos, and I think he took a couple down. But I kept thinking, wait a minute. How did everything go overnight? Because here, he's saying, leave BJ alone. It's her, you know, it's her dad and all that crap. Anyway, overnight, he claims, here's where everything changed. Now look at, he's been in the picture all the way from June. Okay, supposedly knows the Whittakers, you know, all these Airbnbs. And it isn't until here that there's a problem with BJ that we know. All of a sudden, overnight, BJ's bad, and he goes home one day. Eric does. Next thing, he's in the vehicle, rushing back, claims that Betty needs BJ out right now. They want a restraining order. They won't give Betty the phone. They won't give Larry the phone. So again, they're not answering the phone. He's mad. They're not answering the phone. And when they are answering the phone, they're not saying anything. So he thinks it's an emergency. He's got to rush back. So then he somehow, this day, leaves Georgia, goes back. Now, you guys, all of a sudden, it's emergency. Remember that? Overnight. All of a sudden, we got to get BJ out of here. Got to get a restraining order. Got to get an eviction notice. Remember? Overnight. So Betty was a no-show. So he tells Betty she has to go to get a restraining order, and Betty wasn't around. So Eric got mad and called APS. Eric had an appointment now, mind you, this day right here, on Dad Talk or whatever it was, he said, oh yeah, everybody, I'm going to go back to the Whittakers tomorrow. I got an appointment tomorrow with Robert Dunlap to make a trust for the Whittakers' money. Well, tonight, Patrick said on some live stream that people called that Robert Dunlap and there was no appointment. There was nothing. But anyway, so here he said that he had an appointment this day to make at Robert Dunlap for that trust. Well, he's mad because Betty doesn't want to get a restraining order on BJ for no reason. Right? So because yesterday everything is fine. Now today he's back there flying down the freeway telling everybody it's emergency. We got to get her out. So here we are. Everything is fine. They're having a picnic and all this other stuff. And here he is. This is that day. He's flying back. Big emergency. Big emergency. Oh, look, you guys. Now he starts demonizing BJ. We got to get her out of here. She's beating the crap out of Timmy. All these problems. We got to rescue Timmy. Hashtag save Timmy. BJ bad. So it starts demonizing her. And this is for the first time, you guys. First time. It's been there for months. Never saw anything wrong with the house. That bad, he said. Before that. BJ was fine. It's Larry's daughter. Leave her alone. She lives there too. Overnight, it's showing her mugshot, showing the boyfriend with just a campaign to demonize BJ. Then he takes Timmy to the Airbnb and all this other crap. All right, so before that, everything's fine. Then overnight, it's a big emergency to get rid of BJ. Start demonizing her. Because BJ's a perfect fall guy. So, this day, Eric doesn't get what he wants, so he calls Adult Protection Agency and says Betty won't do what I say and get a restraining order. So the next day, he brings Larry in for the restraining order. He blackmails Larry in, which I'm coming out with the videos about him blackmailing Larry. All the times he blackmailed Larry to get the restraining order, and all the times that he threatened, coerced, and bribed Betty to get the restraining order. So remember, it was hell or high water, get this restraining order. All right, get Betty out of there. Don't talk to her. You can't talk to her on the phone. She can't talk to you. You'll all be arrested if you talk to each other. All right. Big emergency. Came back. Betty was served, BJ, on this day, the 26th. Just that fast, Eric has got BJ served with a 30-day eviction notice, and he went live about it. Then enter Dwayne. So that's when Dwayne comes in. All right. Now, Patrick is just getting out of the hospital that day. That's when his buddy Dwayne comes in, and Dwayne is blocking comments because people got questions like, what the hell? He had to call in Dwayne. Because how do you explain 2 days ago everything's fine now? Yesterday you come flying back from Georgia and there's restraining orders, eviction notices, and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? And he seemed to know a whole lot about that copper case, didn't he? Anyway, so the next day he gets this temporary restraining order. And he knows darn well what day it is. All right? So then he can breathe, he said. His friends come in. Eric brings his friends. They all fly in from different places. And he's got, and then this day right here on the 28th of August, Eric Carroll has full control of all the channels, all the money and everything. And I have a video of Patrick can't even post one video anymore because Eric is in full control of it. So now, just as planned, Eric has got control of everybody. There's just one more thing. The heat is on. I don't know what happened with that copper stuff, okay? But there is something big. Remember, Eric said he was being chased. They were following him, finding him. The police were waiting at his house when he got home to talk about it, all this other stuff. Anyway, so on this day, now they're in this Airbnb, okay? They're in this Airbnb. And on this day, Patrick says, I can't post anything. You're in charge, remember? Then BJ had court that day. BJ had court because she got bailed out and she had her first court date here. And I think Eric thought for sure that she was going to be locked back up, but she wasn't. She's out on bail and she went to court and they waived the hearing and it went to circuit court. So she's fine. She's got to wait till her court date. Her case was transferred to circuit court case and she did her court. She went to court, which is marked as safe for Eric. At least she showed up for her court date. Now, during this time, it's interesting because as soon as Patrick got out of the hospital, he said today on the live stream, on somebody else's live stream, that Eric insisted he comes to the Airbnb. Now, remember, he told us it was Patrick's idea, but Patrick says, no, he insisted I go to the Airbnb. So when Patrick's at the Airbnb here, they hire somebody for with a drone to fly it and spy on the Whittakers while they're gone to see if BJ was there. All right, because remember, she got her temporary restraining order now. The restraining order meeting was here. So as of the 31st, they're at the Airbnb. This is the day that they had the new Wi-Fi put in, new TV and all that stuff. And interestingly enough, remember they were supposed to get that security guard there? Well, the security guard showed up, and during this time, the security guard is there. The security guard is telling Eric, why don't you just build the house across the street? Which is a good question. He's saying anyway, Eric did not like that security guard there. And anyway, Eric told the security guard to leave down here. We'll get to that. But anyway, so here we are. They're flying drones, okay, spying on the Whittakers while they're at this Airbnb. It's only 5 miles away, they said. But in the meantime, they're harassing, spying on the Whittakers, make sure BJ's not there. All right, so important not to have BJ there. When just a week before you said it was fine. But on the 31st, that happens. Labor Day, remember, that was the day they get the TV, they had the barbecue and all that other stuff. Well, I'm going to make a video about this. I'm not even going to spoil alert that. But that day, Larry was mad at Patrick, so they weren't getting along. Remember I told you that. So now, they're doing a video here on September 2nd. Now, this is the week of the blow-up. Remember, the house blew up, the Amish and all that stuff. Now, remember, this whole time, since he's been back, Eric has been, had Timmy at the Airbnb. He's been adult protection. He's getting Timmy's birth certificate, his social security cards. He's got the adoption papers all filled out and everything else. He wants to bring Timmy back. So during this time, he's talking about bringing Timmy back to Georgia just for 2 weeks. And he was supposed to go back here, I got a video of him saying that on the 6th, he's going to take Timmy home to Georgia for 2 weeks, maybe a little more, whatever. Well, tonight, Patrick said that, and I've got clips of this too. He said that one time he said on one stream that he heard Patrick heard Eric on his ring cam talking to the wife saying he's bringing Timmy home and sweet talking her and making sure that she's okay. He's bringing Timmy home. And so anyway, that's this week here. This week is everything. You think it looks like a mess on the calendar? Because it did. It got messy this week. So here we are, the Labor Day, all right, with the TV and all that nonsense. Well, that next morning, he brought Timmy down to APS to get those papers. And I got many, many clips. I'm going to be putting out a video of this about him. He said that Adult Protection Eric said that Adult Protection asked him if Eric would be interested in adopting Timmy. Yeah, I kid you not. I got that on video. But anyway, so he brings Timmy down to the APS, okay? And he does a live stream later. And here's that post. This was the day after that Labor Day barbecue with the TV nonsense. He's ready for the day. Got a very important meeting this morning, guys. I will brief you on later. Keep us in your prayers. This is the day he brought Timmy to APS and fill out the adoption papers for Timmy. I kid you not. But yeah, that's that day. Now remember, the whole time, Betty's saying, you're trying to take Timmy away. You're trying to take Timmy away. And he's saying, no, you're crazy. I'm not trying to take Timmy away. Well, he was. Anyway, the heat's on, and Eric is going Airbnb to Airbnb. It's just weird. Anyway, I don't know if it has something to do with the copper stuff. It's just weird. It's like when they all got arrested, he came back and he was comfortable. When they all got bailed out, he left again. He's fighting on the phone with BJ over some money or something. And we didn't hear about none of this until way down here. He didn't tell us nothing about talking to BJ on the phone here. Didn't talk nothing about talking on the phone here. We didn't hear nothing about talking about BJ until the very end when they all got taken away. And maybe he might have told you that she asked him for $300, but that was just to make her look bad. He didn't tell us about all these conversations. So this is the day he brings them into adult protection. He does a live stream. Now, Betty was a no-show for that APS appointment, and that enraged. It enraged Eric to the point where Eric called adult protection, and they came down to the house, and they asked him if he wants to adopt Timmy. I kid you not. So they came to the house. Eric said that they're watching the videos, and that's why Eric was really showing how good he's taking care of Timmy and all that other stuff. And Eric said he was livid when Betty didn't show up. Because Betty said, "You're trying to take Timmy." He said, "No, I'm not." But he was. So the 3rd on Wednesday, now mind you, when they went to the temporary restraining order here on the 27th, they gave him the court date for the 4th. So, funny, Eric can make it to everything but that. So on the 3rd, Eric's friends fly in. Okay, Douche and Robert fly in from different states. And I just noticed this, and I videotaped. I have a clip of it. He said they were going to North Carolina and taking Timmy with them. So they took Timmy to North Carolina and came back or whatever, and then instead of going to the restraining order the next day, him and his 2 friends went out to meet the Amish. And I guess there was a 4th friend too that we never heard of. Then Thursday, the 4th, when the restraining order happened, Eric was off with his friends visiting the Amish. So Eric is off with the Amish. And now get this. I'll probably do a separate video on this. But on this day, Eric missed the restraining order, and BJ returned home, of course, because she can. It's her home and it's legal. So on the 5th, Eric comes back. He turns back. He's got his friends with him. And that's the day he blew up on the porch and said the deal is off. Now, he just went to the records place, okay? And he said it was a no-go and all that because of the land, but somehow he came back with surveying of pictures of the land, and he's still checking it out, even though he knows darn well they don't own it. Now, today, on a live stream, it's funny because Patrick said Eric knew all along, all the way from up there, that Whittakers don't own that property. He knew the whole time. They said, well, why didn't you say something? Well, he didn't, whatever. He said when he started pushing for the house on land they don't own, that's when they started having their falling out, according to Patrick. So this is the day everything fell through. BJ's back. So now the deal is off, even though Eric, and guess what? Remember, he blamed Betty for canceling it and all that. He said it was this day, all this. Eric couldn't keep it straight. Blaming Betty. Now everybody thinks Betty did it. Well, guess what? His own friend, Dwayne, on his video, his timeline video, guess what? He said, yeah, well, Eric forgot it was on the 4th, so what? She could have gotten a ride from somebody else. So his buddy Dwayne, his own buddy, admitted that Eric knew it was on the 4th and forgot because he was trying to get the house for the Whittakers. And somebody else could have done it. Why didn't somebody else bring her? Larry knows how to drive. Eric was too busy trying to get him the house that he promised. So anyway, Dwayne fully admits that Eric knew it was this day and forgot. I'll do a video on that later too. So this day here, this is the day, the 6th. Eric was supposed to bring Timmy home. Remember, he kept saying, I told Lorraine we're going to call every day. And they said, no, just call once a week. He said, we'll call. Remember, so that's the day they were supposed to go home. Now, that morning, Patrick got kicked out of the Airbnb. And then he asked the guy, is there any other? And the landlord said, no, you gotta go. So early, 7 o'clock in the morning, Patrick left there. And that's the day that Eric said that Patrick trashed the Airbnb. And that's a whole nother story. So then the 7th comes and the 8th comes. This is the day they all got taken away, you guys. September 8th, the Monday after. Now think about this. I don't want my phone to shut off because I don't have memory, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to be making little videos about this. So I'll get to that in another video. But he said, okay, so on the 5th, everything fell, Friday the 5th, the deal's off because of the restraining order got canceled, which it didn't. All right, now Monday, Timmy, everybody gets taken away. This is the day that, according to Patrick said that the security guard that was sitting there in his camper up at Patrick's told Patrick that Eric just came up and told him to get off the property, get out of here. The cops are coming. They're going to arrest Patrick for some sexual crime. And so the security guy got out of there, and they didn't arrest Patrick. They came and took Timmy, Lorraine, and Ray. So that morning, Eric showed up at the security guard's camper parked at Patrick's house and said, get out of here. Cops are coming, and Patrick's going to get arrested for some sex crime. So the security guard got out of there, and that's the day that they got. And guess what happened else this day? Eric already had emergency custody papers ready to get to. He filed emergency custody order for Timmy. He was supposed to take him home on the 6th. It was all planned. He didn't get him on the 6th, especially with the house falling through. So anyway, he's filing emergency papers. He knows they're there ahead of time. He knows they're coming before they got there. He told this guy to get out of there. The next day was Eric's last live stream, okay? He blamed Betty and BJ and Larry and everybody for APS taking everybody. This day, so then he goes back home. Finally, he's back home. Anyway, he says that when he gets home this night at midnight, the cops are waiting for him. Yep. Oh. And this day right here is when Patrick put out that text about the copper thing. So I don't know what's going on there. Then Ernie Evans came in. Ernie Evans left for Patrick. Airbnb, Patrick texts the Airbnb people. They never text back. He wants proof. Anyway, and here's where the police opened up the investigation for fraud. So as you can see, out of 75 days from when Eric came in the picture to here was 75 days. Out of these 75 days, Eric had 62 Airbnbs, 62 nights in Airbnbs. And he's claiming he only had $100 in his pocket. 62 nights in very large homes. Anyway, so I'll be doing videos filling you in on all these things that I just told you. And I hope that wasn't too overwhelming. Like I said, I'll be putting out video clips that help explain these things. So anyway, if you made it this long, thanks for watching. And like I said, as far as the copper thing, I don't know. But remember them videos where Eric felt like he's being chased. People were hunting him down. They found out where he was. He had to go somewhere else. They found out. And then somebody said, remember, he said, somebody told him, they came to the Airbnb and said, you don't have no idea what the can of worms you opened. So in my theory, I think he tried to take BJ down, but the whole town collapsed. You know what I mean? There's people probably going to prison for life, if not decades. You know what I mean? The federal prisoner guy, anyway, all of them are in such big trouble. And I think Eric got scared, and yeah. Then when he got home, they said the state patrol was waiting for him at midnight. And he was afraid that everybody knows his address and his phone number and all that. So just weird, something to think about. Like I said, I'll make some videos to fill in these all these blanks. Anyway, thanks for listening. Peace.